The question is it a defence in a drug driving case to show that you're not affected by the drug that you've taken or that you're not stoned? There are two answers to this question. For most people, the answer is no, but for a small group of people, there's a different answer, which I'll come back to later. Now, we're talking here about illegal drugs because the issues with for drug driving with some prescribed drugs are a little bit different. But for illegal drugs, most people will be charged with driving with drugs over the prescribed limit. So the police, in that case, or the prosecution, have to prove that you were driving and that your blood was tested and that you were over the limit for drugs. Now, the limit for all illegal drugs is effectively a zero tolerance limit. It's a very, very low limit. So in fact, a lot of people who are charged very close to the limit probably won't be affected by the drug, and their driving won't be affected. But in those cases, the trigger for a conviction is being over the limit. So whether you're affected by the drug or not is irrelevant, it's immaterial. As long as you're over the limit, then you will be potentially guilty of the offence. So in that case, no, it's not a defence. Now, I mentioned a small number of people because there is an alternative offence of driving whilst unfit through drugs. Now, it's unusual for anybody to be charged with driving whilst unfit through drugs nowadays because there are the limits that were brought in a few years ago. But in a case of driving whilst unfit, as well as proving that that you have drugs in your body, the prosecution in that case would have to show that you were unfit. So if you could show that you were fit to drive, or actually alternatively, if the prosecution can't prove that you're unfit to drive, then you would have a defence. So in those cases, yes, it will be a defence. But I repeat, it's very unusual nowadays for anybody to be charged with that because it's much easier for the prosecution to prove guilt in a case of just being over the limit.